Hey folks, this Sunday, Fox Animation Domination returns on Valentine's Day with all new episodes, including the series premiere of The Great North. From the producers of Bob's Burgers comes a new animated comedy that proves life in Alaska is always an adventure. The all-star cast includes Nick Offerman, Jenny Slate, Will Forte, Dulce Sloan, Paul Rust, and Aparna Nancherla. The Great North premieres Sunday, 8:30, 7:30 Central on Fox.
Lock the gate!
All right, let's do this. How are you, what the fuckers, what the fucksters, what the fucknicks? What is happening? I'm Marc Maron. This is my podcast, WTF. And it's been exciting lately, hasn't it? What does that even mean? Why am I opening like that? What am I talking about? Well, I'll be honest with you. Brendan and I, my business partner and producer, got some good news. Edison Research is a real thing. And this is the Podcast Consumer Tracking Report. Now, Brendan and I have been doing this show on our own for 12 years or so, right? Been about 12 years now. I wouldn't say we're OGs, but we're close. We were there at the beginning when there was nothing. There was a few, there was some history, and there was a few, and then us. And I believe that over time we helped define this medium, podcasting. But as everything goes, over time, you imagine that, well, there's a million podcasts. Who knows where we are in the big picture, but we keep doing consistent work, and we keep showing up for work, and we keep evolving, folks. We keep evolving. But on the most listened to podcasts in 2020, United States weekly podcast listens, we are number 20, which is fucking astounding. 12 years in, still doing top-notch work, still happy to be working and always engaged with our work, and it's showing up 20. Out of the, I don't know whether there's 50 listed here, but we're 20, and above us there's the regular customers, the NPRs and the New York Times, and Joe is up there at the top, but Joe's doing that thing. But I'll tell you, we were both pleasantly surprised and excited and self-congratulatory about this news. How long we've been doing it, what we've been doing, and the fact that it sticks and it's consistent and it's evolving. And we've been through a lot, but this was exciting for us, so I thought I'd share that. Now, my guest today is Marc Harris, the writer of books, the journalist. He's written several books on film. Pictures at a Revolution is one that I just recently finished, and I thought it was spectacular. It's 5 movies and the birth of the new Hollywood. He also wrote a book called 5 Came Back, a story of Hollywood and the Second World War. And he also wrote his new book, Mike Nichols, A Life, a huge Mike Nichols biography. And I was excited to talk to him because I dug into the book, and it just reignited my brain in so many ways. The other thing I want to share is that I'm starting to see results from the meditation. I have fought the idea of meditation for a long time. I still kind of fight it, but I do it. I generally do a guided meditation with the Headspace app. This is not a paid advertising. It's just the one, someone gave it to me for nothing, actually. But now I listen to the English guy. Okay, take a deep breath. Breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Eyes open, soft focus. Now get ready to lock down, because we're going to fucking meditate this shit to death. We are going to fucking so deeply meditate that you're not even going to know your name when you get out of here. You're not even going to know what day it is. We're going to get so fucking deep into it, you're not even going to know if you're a man or a woman or a gerbil or a dog or a little piggy. Yeah, we're going to get so deep into it that you're going to tap into the big hum, the big frequency. You're going to be in the canyon of time, not knowing what God is or who you are or whether or not anything is anything. That's where we're going with this. All right, now breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Now, why don't you wank it? I'm sorry, it's a joke. It's a joke. You can do that after. Anyways, listen. I think what's happening is we never know the future, but we usually can plan. No one ever really knows what's going to happen, but usually you can hang your future thinking on some things you're looking forward to or some things you have to do, and that's gone because we don't know when we're going to be able to do things. I'm not speaking for everybody, but I believe that the dread of really never knowing what's going to happen in the future, which is sort of a mortality anxiety, but the dread of not knowing when we're going to actually be able to do anything outside of what we have to do today and tomorrow, which seemingly has broken into a series of patterns that just maintain our sanity. But the anxiety of not knowing, compounded by the other thing, the planning thing, I think is a lot. So what I've begun to notice about meditation, I find that the sitting, the guided meditation, the sitting with the breath, however you want to do it, the ability to kind of work that muscle, that mental muscle, to focus on the breath and be in the present, to let thoughts come and go, to not get too freaked out when you get distracted, but to really sort of sit mindfully and focus on the breath to the point where that's all you're doing is sort of engaging with your breath. That working that muscle enables you to almost instinctively get into the present when you begin to have anxiety or dread. And it almost happens without you being cognizant because you've worked that muscle, and that muscle is specifically to kind of not get lost in those thoughts. Now, you have to decide for yourself whether you'd rather have a meditative brain or a brain that's on fire. Look, if you like firefighting, then you may prefer the burning brain. I'm not sure I like firefighting. I've been doing it a lot of my life, but it turns out that like I'm not really fighting fires. I'm just sort of like kind of letting them burn, and then when they start to simmer down, I'll throw a little bit more stuff on there. But I find that the meditation enables you to kind of like I have a hard time compartmentalizing because one bad thought, if you have a hard time compartmentalizing or if you're missing a small piece of your personality, one small negative thought or one bit of bad news or one kind of nugget, a little anxiety seedling can just grow fucking strangling vines all over your entire sense of being. If you get that meditation muscle going, you get that sort of mindful muscle going, you get that quieted down muscle going, you might have a little shot. You might have a little shot of compartmentalizing, of keeping things in perspective, of quieting the brain down, of getting into the present when necessary. You might be able to sort of dam up some of those neural pathways that kind of over fucking flood, just kind of like stop them for a minute. Because, when you have no control over the flood of fear, anxiety, dread, I'm mixing metaphors. There's the brain on fire, then there's the flood of bad thoughts. I guess they can happen simultaneously, right? No amount of water is going to put that fire out. It's just going to flood everything. So then you end up with a bunch of fucking moldy, soggy books and papers and toys from your past and pictures. They're all soggy and fucked up because you let it flood and it made your past look dark. And then the fire's the future. You got a flooded past with mold, and in the future, nothing but flames. So meditation helps with that. And that was actually a guided meditation that I just did. Let me take a minute here to tell you about a new show you'll want to check out. All right, look, Sunday is Valentine's Day, and Fox wants you to spend the night laughing because Fox Animation Domination returns with all new episodes of your favorite shows, but this time a new family joins the Fox family. Prepare to get wild with the Tobin family in the series premiere of The Great North. From the producers of Bob's Burgers comes a new animated comedy that proves life in Alaska is always an adventure. Millions of viewers fell in love with the special preview of The Great North, and they weren't the only ones, folks. Critics are already calling it hilarious, heartwarming, and silly sweetness. The Hollywood Reporter raves that it's another animated winner for Fox. This Valentine's Day, chill out with an all-star cast, including Nick Offerman, Jenny Slate, Will Forte, Megan Mullally, Dulce Sloan, Paul Rust, Aparna Nancherla, and Alanis Morissette. Like you've never seen her. Don't miss the premiere of The Great North, part of an all-new night of Fox Animation Domination, Sunday, 8:30, 7:30 Central on, yes, you guessed it, Fox. Let's talk about movies. Marc Harris is going to be talking to me, and the book he wrote, Pictures at a Revolution, is... See, it's been a long time since I read about film, and all of us, I think a lot of us who are interested or studied stuff are watching a lot of movies right now. And I, for some reason, now that like some of the PTSD from my grief and recent trauma and the general trauma has sort of settled down, I find myself with this quiet time where I'm not, pounding my brain with stand-up and compulsively working on material, where I'm actually trying to take things in again in a way that runs a little deeper than just get me out of now. Could somebody get me out of now? But I think so many of us have lost context that so much of what we put into our brains is to try to, get us out of now, get us out of us, distract us. But my depth of intellectual understanding is limited, and I don't always trust it because I don't think I'm that smart. That's just my nature. But reading this book, it really, this book, the one I read, I've read part of the Mike Nichols book, the new book, but he writes a lot about Nichols in Pictures at the Revolution. It focuses on the 5 films that were nominated for Best Picture in 1967. And through those films, he's able to analyze the cultural pulse of the nation, the politics of show business, the nature of each production, what went into it on a writing level, acting level, producing level, directing level, and put that into the context of the larger history of film and the history of show business and the people who were involved. And the films were Bonnie and Clyde, In the Heat of the Night, Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, Dr. Dolittle, and The Graduate. And through that, he's able to sort of consider and assess the films, for what they are in context of culture and criticism, because he cites a lot of the critics, but also how that shift in the culture and in the politics of the culture, changed how movies were made, sold, and taken in. All levels working, all pistols operating. It's a real brain igniter. And in contextualizing these things, you see the films differently. And I watched all the films again. And this is dealing with art, it's dealing with race, deals with gender, it deals with age, it's all there. And film is very rich like that. And I think what it speaks to in terms of my laziness as of late, or my need to get out of the now, or for just general distraction, is that I think that cultural criticism, film criticism, art criticism in general, the deep stuff, not the review, not the this or that, good or bad, thoughts on, sounds like, now trending, not that, but sort of true contextualized consideration of art or culture is a bit waning, which is sad, because those things are needed. They're needed to sort of understand, comprehend the cultural conversation and what is happening, to slow it down, to consider thoughtfully and intellectually and historically. A lot of that stuff is falling by the wayside, and after reading a book like Marc Harris's, it's like it's so fucking important. Because it's very easy to get lazy, and it's very easy to get shallow. And, most people don't think too deeply about anything because everything's moving so fast. And even smart people have given up without knowing it. How you just go to Rotten Tomatoes. Well, an 87, that's pretty good. How many reviews? 100? Let's watch that. But if you don't have anything in place to put things into context or to think for yourself, you're just going to be citing other things. You're going to be referring to clickbait. You're going to be referring to something you heard. You're going to be comparing blindly, and that's going to sort of pass as thought for you. We're volunteering for shallowness. You got to go deep, man. And that's what criticism can do. Whether you understand it or not, it'll take you deeper and make you understand that there is depth to be explored. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for this guest. And I was excited to talk to him. He's also married to Tony Kushner, who's probably the most brilliant living playwright that we have. And it was kind of hard for me at the beginning because I was like, is Tony he's just in the other room just hanging out?